So welcome back this morning, guys. It's in the shop. What you see behind me here, recently purchased this Lotus Esprit with a engine issue, and we're going to be tearing down the engine and kind of getting into that. But I wanted to get a few things off of it so we can get in there and kind of see. Never do something like that on any kind of car. I mean, if it's just to get you down the road, okay. But that is a busted radiator hose right there. Or, excuse me, a coolant line. Let's see if I can turn that to get a better view. I use these hose pulling hooks quite often in older vehicles like this. Makes it real easy to get them loose there. And then when I'm working on a car like this, I try to keep as much together as possible so that we don't lose where things go. But when I purchased this is how I got it, not on the stand and not with the cylinder sleeves clamped down. Anybody that's going to tackle a project like this on one of these Lotus engines with these sleeved cylinders, as soon as that head comes off, you have to clamp down your sleeves. If you don't, then you will be leaking from around the sleeves. You'll be getting water into the oil and you won't know why. You'll think it's a head gasket, but it's actually the cylinder sleeve. These are sealed with a anaerobic sealant when you assemble the engine, and there's a compression fit. These sleeves ride just higher. I want to say it was 3 thousandths higher than the block deck, but it's in the book. If the Lotus notes and Lotus service notes book, if you have to have that information. And the person that had owned this car was trying to work on it, but they didn't know what they were doing. They had told me that it overheated pretty bad, and they thought it had warped the head. So they took the head off and took it to a machine shop, had the the head worked on. And the work looks good. Doesn't look like the machine shop did a bad job, but they never put it back together. But as I was getting into tearing it down, or getting into getting everything out and onto the engine stand, I noticed that some of the wiring harness had been cut and stuff like that. Don't do that. That's never a good idea. If you're having to cut a wiring harness because you're not doing something right. Now, I've never seen a reluctor wheel get damaged like this. This little, these grooves trigger this sensor so the computer knows where the crankshaft is. And these are all damaged. I don't know if you can see the end of them, but they're beveled off and they're roughed up, and the edges are roughed up. We'll have to look into that. I didn't see an obvious cause right there, but there's obviously an issue there. And whoever pulled this thing out, they just cut the sensor wire instead of finding the plug and unplugging it. Maybe they couldn't find it, maybe they couldn't get to it, I don't know. But that was a dumbass move. Say hi. Got a team today. Yuck! That is pure dumbass right there.
Hopefully there's none of that up in the pickup tube.
Doesn't look like there is.
Oh my God.
That's ridiculous though.
Jeez.
Somebody was silicone happy.
Does it look clean anyway?
Yeah, I mean, she looks pretty clean. With the exception of the orange crap everywhere. Somebody dookied orange all over it.
It shows 76,000 miles on it. Still got the original seat covers in it.
Really?
Drop
Yeah.
one?
I dropped it. It ain't easy to find one.
No, you're so fucking dead.
It's like a hair.
Yeah, it is.
Set it on there like that. Make sure the Main cap is the right direction.
You want this with a ratchet or a gun?
These are supposed to go to a torque reading. And then, I ain't gonna be perfect, but I'll be close.
So the numbers that are engraved on the bottom of those, is that factory? Or you think somebody see on the bottom of the
I don't
piston?
know, somebody did that.
'Cause that's on all
That's good
of them.
though. That means they had it apart. Doesn't mean they did it right. But at least
What's the torque spec on that?
it was like 105, I think, but I just ran 70 just so we could get us get some reading.
Yeah, I've never seen those before.
So what you do, you stick this up there and measure how
How far
wide it is.
spread?
Yeah. So it's in between 2,000s and 3,000s. And that other one I built right in between 2,000 and 3,000 of an inch on and the spec was 2 to 5.
Oh, okay.
So it's within spec. I mean, but look at that bearing, it looks gaudy. Love it?
You're gonna pull them all right now, right? There's one of those scrapers.
Alright. I mean, you gotta get the little piece of plastic off there.
That one you gave me, I've used it for several things
There you go.
since then.
Alright.
Out we come. I may have to pull the sleeve off of it to get it out, but I'll rotate it, see if it'll fit. It'll go. Rings barely cleared that.
Alright, we'll set that on the table. Rod up. Let's put the cap back on though. Yeah. So this particular engine, they took it all apart and they, you know, sealed everything with orange RTV sealant, and that's fine on a Chevy dump truck, or you know, some work vehicle. You're just trying to get back going, and you know, you want a good seal or whatever. But on a high performance sports car, that's not okay. Take the time to do it right. And in this particular instance, there's information on these Lotuses everywhere. A good internet search will get you a lot of information and some people that would point you in the right direction. But they used just gobs of this orange sealant on this thing. And you can see there's no indication of the anaerobic sealant put on the cylinder sleeves where they mate to the block. They had the head off of it and sent it off to get machined. I assume they got it running like that, and they were getting water in the oil and thought it was a bad head or a warped head. And what it really was is they didn't have the sealant around the sleeves. Well, they ran it long enough to damage all the main caps. You can see all the main bearings have damage. Every one of them's got damage to it. That one is especially damaged. This one here is pretty bad. That one there is pretty bad. And again, that orange sealant is everywhere. Now this particular engine, they don't make a gasket set for it. Lotus from the factory used the sealant to seal the mated surfaces on the block and on the pan. So their idea was right, it was just the wrong material. But you can see the piston skirts are a little scored, rod bearings are a little rough, and then the main journals of the crank, front to back, you can see where that got hot. There's some scarring there, there's some grind marks. You know, it's got to have a full rebuild.